Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, the camp director here at Sherwood Forest. And I wanted to talk to everyone today because this is actually my last summer here at Sherwood. I'll be moving on to the next adventure in life, but before I go, I want everyone to meet our new camp director, Alexis Newsome.
Hello,
Yay.
Hi, thank you, Rachel. Hi everyone, I am excited and happy to be here and have the stick passed on to me from Rachel.
So today we're going to chat about camp a little bit, talk about the transition, and answer some fun questions.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, Alexis, what has your impression been of summer 21? It's been a crazy one, but like, how do you feel being your first summer in a really weird year?
I think this is the best transition period really to take the baton from you, because we hopefully won't have to have this summer again in this way and this schedule. So having all of the different challenges or different things that present itself given our constraints with COVID and camp number in general, I think it's the best time for me to learn all the ins and outs and really see how the camp director position runs and rolls and engages in certain ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think this has been a really crazy year to have camp for everybody.
Yes.
And then on top of that, learning how to do this job has probably been extra crazy because we've got all these added pieces. We're doing COVID testing.
Yes.
We're trying to keep kids in pods and do camp in a bubble.
Yes.
And so I do think that having gone through this summer and experiencing all that is a part of making the summer happen is going to set you up to next summer is going to be a breeze, assuming that we aren't having to do all of this stuff all over
knock
again.
on the wood from the
knock on
benches.
wood.
Yes. So it's definitely been, I think, a great impression. If I could, I don't even know if I can find the right adjective, but I think eye-opening and really, I don't know, delightful has been the word that's come to mind, just because I know there are moments that are not delightful, but overall, that is what I am feeling, and I am really feeling excited about it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know at one point, it was a crazy day. Kids were upset, staff were upset. I think we were dealing with some kind of COVID-related upset thing or the bubble kind of upset. And you turned to me and you were like, I'm so happy I have this job. And I just remember thinking thank goodness, because this is a hard day. And so if you are happy today, then you are going to be happy.
Yes.
And that's the kind of spirit that you need, because it does get so grueling sometimes.
It
So
does.
to be able to stay positive and excited, even when everyone else is not positive and excited is critical.
I do remember that day. Absolutely. We were on a Kubota and we just did laundry and then moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was what were the reaction from the campers coming back this summer that you experienced and saw?
Well, throughout all of last summer 2020, leading up to 2021, it was a nonstop questions of are we going to be at camp? Do we get to go back to camp? When do we get to go back to camp? What happens if COVID's still around? Can we still go to camp?
Yes.
Just constantly, that's the question we got. Kids wanted to be back here. And so when we decided, yes, we're gonna have in-person camp, we're gonna come back down here, kids were just endlessly excited about it. Parents were also excited. They're like, please give my child something to do other than sit in this house doing virtual camp, virtual school. Everyone needs to get out, needs to move, needs to be somewhere other than at home where we have all been stuck.
Yes.
So kids were so excited. I think on the first day, I mean, for me, being able to see the faces of all of these kiddos that we have known for years or maybe just met last year virtually, it was really exciting to see all of them again. And I know they were all so excited to see each other, like tears in my eyes as they come back together, because we're finally here. And we've been waiting so long to be here.
That's true. I will tell you, the leadership kiddos were really excited to see you in this last session. And as I was walking around camp, a lot of them were like, wait a minute, where's Rachel? Alexis, where's Rachel? And I just think it speaks volumes of the lasting imprint you've left on these kids, even the ones that are going to be graduating or the ones that are still coming back. They're still wanting to see you and feel your presence there. So that was really exciting to see. Even though I was there, they were like, where's Rachel? I still love to hear that.
It warms my heart, because the kids that are in our leadership program right now, the ones who are in Adventure and Journey, they were wee ones when I started. And so I've got to see them grow up over camp. And so I do feel like I've watched them become children into young adults. And
Yes.
it's really exciting to see that and to watch that journey. Like kind of a proud parent moment.
Absolutely.
It's a little different, I know, but
No, totally. Proud parent moment.
very exciting
Yes.
to see them.
Yes.
All right, I need to find my next question.
You can edit this part out.
Oh yeah, okay. So, I mean, you're a parent.
I
You had virtual camp last year with your kid. You had virtual school.
Yes.
And your kid came to camp this
Yes.
year. So, like, what's your perspective as a parent and in general about how impactful camp has been for our kids this summer?
So I think it has been hugely, largely, vitally impactful for kids in general. And then my kid who is 9, who is an only child, they need that in-person interaction. So having to do virtual school was a struggle for her, as it was for many of our campers and many of our kids. And then having to do stay camp, they loved the activities, they loved doing things on the screen, they loved the cooking club, but it's just the feel of being in this environment that a lot of kids know is their second summer home or their place of peace makes all the world a difference. It changes behaviors, it changes mindset. So it could not be more vital to actually be at camp and hear the kids running, like hear the waterfall, hear the pool splashing. It just means so much personally. And then as a parent, that's what we want for our kids. We want them to have a happy place. We want their mindset for them to be positive, but whatever positive looks like for them. We want them to feel comfortable in different settings. And if camp is that place for them and for my child, then absolutely it is such an impact on a positive way as well. And having my daughter here as I am transitioning into this role was interesting. We did have to, I was like, hey, can I give you a hug here or can we do that? And I got a lot of, see you later, Mom. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So, but being at camp in general, as a parent, I think is really what we want, and this place specifically with the staff that we have and the leadership team that we have, knowing that your kid is well cared for. They'll get the hugs, they'll get the love, they'll get the high fives, whatever it is. They'll get the good food from Chef Darnell and his staff. That's what we want as parents for our kids.
Yeah, I think that relationship building piece that comes with camp is the thing that was really missing when we were doing virtual stuff. I mean, I do feel like I got to connect with kids over Zoom, I mean, as much as possible.
Right.
But it's just not the same as seeing them day in and day out. You wake up in the morning, you see them at breakfast, you see them at night as they go to sleep.
And jammies.
And jammies, and bonnets, and like everything. You see the full scope of kids. And that really, you build such strong relationships when you're able to do that. And so I think that being able to be back here when kids have felt so disconnected from each other and from like friends and family and other adults in their lives was really like they need it. They really needed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have another question for you. I need to find my question. So let's see. Oh, this is a juicy one.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, Rachel, how do you feel about me transitioning into this role that you have graciously had and led this organization? And I mean that in all honesty. And I just want to say to you again, I do think that you are a unicorn in this role. You are a social worker, you have the wilderness experience, and you have the biggest heart to love all children. So I do think you are a unicorn. So how do you feel about me taking on this role?
I feel very confident. I mean, I told you this already, that stepping into the second session, I was like, okay, you're going to take the lead, I'm going to take a step back. And I had no hesitation on your ability to do that. I saw during the first session you really eager to step in to take responsibility for things that you felt like you could. And so when that second session came up, I was like, great, Alexis has got it. There's a point where you just have to do it.
Right.
And you have to stumble and you have to experience the bumps along the way, and then you figure it out and do it better next time. And I feel like you've done a great job navigating all of that this whole summer, but definitely in the second session as you've taken on more leadership. So I feel very confident. I feel like you know what we're doing, like not just know in like you read our mission statement, but like you feel it at your heart. You feel what we're doing, why we are here, the impact that we have on kids. A lot of it probably because you were a camper, and so you know what that impact is, and you're a parent, so you also know what that is from the parent side. But that is, it makes me feel safe, makes me feel like camp is safe.
Thank you.
To be able to leave camp in the hands of someone that really gets why we're here and is committed to what we're doing here.
Yes.
And like I said earlier, if you are saying that you really love this job on the worst days, then like that's great. That is great.
Yeah.
Because that is the kind of energy that you have to have day in and day out.
For sure. I do think it's important to note that this wouldn't have been possible in this transition without like you sharing your grace and you sharing your knowledge and information, and then being part of a team and being part of a staff that really do care about the kids and our campers. So it is a spirit of collaboration for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, how are you feeling taking on this role? Like thinking into next summer and future years, like it's a lot.
It is a lot. I do not shy away from knowing that it is a very huge role, and that is a very prominent role for our organization. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't slightly nervous. I think that's just normal. But I am excited. I feel energized, and I honestly feel empowered in taking this transition in this role. When I think about the style of leadership and teaching, and then just engagement with campers and young people, this is the style that I want to do. It's outside the four walls of a classroom. It's being able to build those relationships in a way that you wouldn't be able to do inside school. And it's being able to build them out in this environment, in this peaceful place. So I also think of it as being a woman of color, and knowing that the majority of our children are people of color. I think that makes such a huge impact. So when I am speaking to a camper who is a person of color and saying, I understand what you're going through, I've either seen that or I've experienced it, or speaking to some of our young black males and telling them, these are some of the things that we have to do, unfortunately, because of our beautiful brown skin. I know that is a connection that I can make with campers. And I think that it speaks volumes to you for having self-awareness, knowing that part of that relationship building stops at some point with you. And so I do feel like it is a heavy job, but I feel like I am ready to take that on with the team and with this organization as well too. So
that's great.
I will tell you, I did have to run it by my daughter before. I was like, how do you feel about mom coming to your summer home? And she said it was okay, so it was approved. So I got the approval from my little tiny human, but I'm excited about it. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me look at, sorry, I should just keep this here. Another question for you. So Rachel, as you ride off into the sunset, back to your beautiful home state of North Carolina, what are your hopes for Sherwood Forest?
That is a big one. I think one of my biggest hopes is that we continue to evolve with the needs of our kids. We have been around for over 80 years. In that time, we have changed a lot as an organization. We've recognized the different needs of our kids, the changing needs of our kids, and adjusted what we do to better meet their needs. And I feel like we are at a place where we're ready to kind of reevaluate and see what is it that our kids need today. This past year has been a lot, being in COVID world has been a lot. A lot of the more conversations that we're having openly as a society about race and inclusion and diversity. I think those things have had a really big impact on our kids. Even this year, I feel like we've talked about race and diversity so much more than any year that I've been here before. And so I think that those conversations, just kind of the change in our times around what we are talking about and what kids are experiencing and having access to is really changing who comes to camp, and not necessarily the demographics of who comes to camp, but what are those kids coming to camp with? What ideas and experiences are they bringing? And so I think we're at a place to reevaluate some of that and think about how do we continue to be the program that our kids and their families need.
Absolutely.
And it may look a little bit different. A lot of it will stay the same, may sound different. But I think that's so important that we continue to do that, because that's why we're here. That's why we've been around for 80 plus years, is because we have adjusted as the needs of our families have adjusted. And
Yes.
so we just need to keep doing that so that we're serving our community in the best way possible.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. I think when we say it sounds different, it makes me think of the conversations that we first had when our campers got here, like what they are bringing, what they have experienced being in this tumultuous almost 2 years of political, racial, just this cracks in our society and what that looks like for our kids and what they might have heard or even experienced on their behalf. So how can we respond to make sure that we're supporting and we hear them and they feel seen? And I think you're right. Even being a camper and you being here as well, these are conversations that we may not have had before. And I think that's part of us evolving, and both of us share this. When our young people speak, we should listen. And I think that the organization is really starting to believe and really listen to that and lean into what our young people are saying and how we can respond and support them.
Yes, absolutely agree.
Yes.
Okay, I think I have one more question for you. Oh man, okay. This is a good one. This is a good one. Get into the more like the leadership perspective. So if you were talking to our donors and our friends of Sherwood, how would you describe the way that their gift has impacted our kids and their families?
Yes. So I think if I'm speaking to a donor, no matter what your level of donor commitment is, whether it's $2 to $2 million, I think the impact of giving is incredibly vital. And I think it is long lasting. We're surrounded by all these beautiful trees, and I think about the roots of the trees, and I think about the branches of the trees when we talk about long-lasting donors and friends of Sherwood. Your gift, no matter what it is, really plants seeds in our children. So whether that be letting them having them come to this camp and they just either have access to being able to swim, or being able to get into a pool, or being able to do ceramics, or being able to paint this mural that is about diversity and inclusion and acceptance, all of those things. So when we talk about the impact, it is really providing access and opportunity. And some of our kids already have access and opportunity, and some of our kids don't. So then it's being able to provide each of those kids a space where they can come together to learn about one another and be able to live in this shared environment together, knowing that everybody brings different things to the table, and we can actually still get along and be friends. And your experience is just as important as mine, and moving forward together, now we're the same in that way because we're each bringing something to the table that might on the outside world, and we take this outside, be different. So I think that impact from a donor is long lasting in terms of roots growing and spreading all throughout the ground. And then along the way, as the roots grow, maybe seedlings come up from those branches. And so now there are other trees that are growing from this one gift or this one donor. And then we talk about the branches, they're spreading, they're providing shade, they're providing nutrients, they're providing oxygen. It is the same thing that when I think about our donors as well. So I could go on, but the biggest impact, I think, is just helping to provide a space for our young people and campers to come and having them really access an opportunity. And not just here at camp. So with Supports for Success, what does that look like as we help them grow into young adults in this society? So is it college? Is it a trade school? What does life after high school for you look like? So is it just setting up with mentors? Is it setting up with someone that in a field that you are interested in? So is that an internship? So having a donor that is even helping with camp, but then having a donor that's helping outside of camp back in St. Louis, that is hugely impactful. For some kids that may not have that structure, or some kids that may have the structure, but maybe they just need a little more help. So providing all of the impact at camp and outside of camp is incredibly vital. And then we look at people that come back to camp and work that were former campers, like continually giving back, continually watering those same trees that if we're talking about the tree and the donor and the branches, we're continually watering that and taking care of that environment that was seeds that were planted 80 plus years ago. It sounds like you're describing like our donors and their gifts as like the equalizer. And that's something that we don't have a lot of, is like the issue of equity amongst a lot of our kids and their families. And coming to camp is an opportunity for them to experience that equity. And so when
people give to Sherwood, whether it's a little bit or a lot,
Yeah.
depending on what works for them, then they're contributing to equity for our families.
Yes,
And that's
absolutely.
something that like they might not be getting in every place in their life.
Nope.
And to come to Sherwood to be able to do that is life changing.
Yes. I also think when we talk about donors, I know we're talking about some in-kind and like physical monetary donations, but I think about the donation of time.
Yes.
When people come down to camp and give their time and give and share like their knowledge. I think about people that may come that are environmental scientists, or that may come that just need to help and volunteer in the craft, in the art barn, or that they're lifeguards. Sharing that experience with a kid and sharing that knowledge and just connecting with a child down at camp that is their home away from home and is their happy place is also just as meaningful.
Yeah.
And coming to the space that is theirs and sharing in that space. Like you said, some of these campers may not have that same equity and may not have, that resource or that knowledgeable person in their life, but they have it here at camp.
Yeah.
And now that there's a connection made here at camp that can last outside of camp.
Yeah.
It's wildly important.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
So I hope that you mosey on back from North Carolina to share your wilderness experience as well.
I plan on it. I'm already thinking about what can I do to get a week back here to volunteer on like an adventure
We
journey
will
trip.
make it work. We will
trip,
get you on the current river. We will make it
Yeah.
work. Yes, you will always, always, always be welcome here at your home.
I intend to come back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So